I'm a one.
Well, welcome to my YouTube channel.
I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Low me tools, no, I can't be fooled. Low me tools, no, I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you.
Bring yourself back online.
So a strange and crazy thing happened to me 4 weeks ago. We closed the Fundibots office and I sent my teams home to start the work from home mandate in order to fight COVID-19. I had mentally prepared myself for the challenges of leading a team remotely, and I was working daily to navigate the dynamics of the lockdown protocols and instructions from the President of Uganda. The announcements came back to back, leaving lots of room for confusion and uncertainty in their wake. It was basically pure chaos for a few days. But a part of me welcomed the lockdown. I was exhausted, like physically and mentally exhausted. I had months of fatigue wearing down on my body and my mind, and no amount of rest had managed to work. So I looked forward to a more relaxed work environment, but I was also aware that this would be a very challenging time for myself as a leader, and I knew that my team would need my support as much as possible. So I braced myself for what was to come. But that's not the strange and crazy thing that happened. That has more to do with this YouTube channel. You see, when I launched this channel, I had these big plans. I still have big plans. And I approached the entire process very meticulously. I lined up video ideas. I started doing research. I set up this space. I mean, you guys watched the video setup of the space. And I was basically ready to hit the ground running. I even posted 5 videos before the lockdown, which were relatively well received. So when the lockdown happened, I was excited because now I had time to churn out videos and people would be paying attention because, you know, we are all at home, bored out of our minds, and we are hungrily consuming online content. I was ready to create videos. I blocked out time. I went through tons of ideas. I started writing scripts. I fixed a few issues with my hardware and my software. I had conversations with my inner circle about the kind of content that I could create during this time. I cracked my knuckles and got ready to kick off with amazing content for you guys. And then nothing. There was nothing. Like, I'm not even kidding. My creativity had deserted me completely. I couldn't sit down to create. And it wasn't just videos. Everything was gone. Art, writing, creating music, tinkering with electronics, all of it was gone. My muse had deserted me once again, and this time completely. All the usual places of creative refuge, you know, the things that you can do without thinking too much, like, you know, sketching things and just tinkering, all of it was gone completely. And it was a very, very frustrating time for me. But on the other hand, work was thriving, which made sense for me because this was my element. The introvert in me welcomed the quietness, the solitude, and my sister's company as she watched TV in the living room. She's actually standing behind this video watching. It was actually good. I churned out work, wrote reports, talked to my team and donors. Everything was normal for me. In fact, I think I was thriving more. The one place that I was hilariously bad at was social media. I posted so much nonsense, so much. But hey, we have our crazy sides. And at some point I was like, dude, what's going on with this whole social media thing? But most of it was angsty, snarky responses to poorly thought out ideas from our government and the insane levels of corruption that we were starting to see from our leaders. So I took time off to reflect and figure out why I was creatively blocked. And after a lot of introspection, 5 things bubbled to the surface. I just want to share that with you because I think it might help some of you who are out there struggling.
Analysis mode. Have you ever questioned the nature of your reality?
The first thing is that my creativity existed outside of structure. And this was one of the strangest realizations for me. It dawned on me that over the years, my work had demanded the fullest investment of creativity as a prerequisite for success. Now, however, creativity existed primarily outside of the consciousness of work. I became creative because I needed to take a break from work. It said a lot about the transition of my work because I had shifted from tinkering all day in animation and editing software, from working with electronics and robotics, and now I was doing a lot more filling out of reports and working with Excel tables and doing projections. So much so that my primary consideration for a mobile laptop is whether or not it has a numeric keypad, for all those sweet Excel tables. Can you imagine that? Coming from GPU, high performance, can it render well, etc. And I was like, does it have a place where I can calculate from? So I found myself in this place where there was no structure to fall back to. And so the line between what needed to be creative work and what needed to be work became an increasingly nebulous blur that got progressively more complex to navigate as the weeks went by and as the uncertainty continued. And secondly, work and play were now in the same space, like the same physical space. This space is my workspace and my home office space. And this is one of the things that I addressed in my work from home video, which I'll share somewhere, you'll see the link. And while it made sense for people who had a work then home life, it was more nuanced in my case because the space I was occupying was the same exact space. I would literally have to close an Excel or a PowerPoint file and then take a short break and jump into Premiere Pro. As opposed to previously where I could leave work, the physical office, come home, take a break, sit at my desk, and then start the creative side of things. So that complicated things a little. The lack of distinction between work and creativity was taking a major toll, especially now because we both occupied the same physical and mental space. And 3, I was anxious, positive anxiety, and this was a pretty big deal for me. I try my best to have a pretty stoic mind, but I found myself more and more concerned about the welfare of my team. The realization that I was responsible for the welfare of over 50 people and the family and community ecosystems and social structures that they support, along with ensuring that the business remains solvent enough to continue operations once the lockdown ends, it was pretty taxing. And on top of that, running through all the risk management scenarios, cash flow projections, and speaking with the management team, board members and donors, etc. was a constant cycle of concern, which put welfare, well-being, and business continuity front and center. And so anything creative, anything that was non-essential, basically took a back seat. And then the 4th was that most of my planned content required in-person interviews with tons of shots and one-on-one conversations. I have literally hundreds of video ideas for this channel, with more being added each day. But the ones that I was excited about, the ones that I wanted to start this channel with, all required in-person physical interviews with founders, entrepreneurs, and, Kampala's hustlers. And this was all mostly because I wanted to film them at their places of work and talk to them and their teams physically and just kind of show what they're doing, what they're up to, just like the comic book video that I did. And so now obviously everyone is moving online for meetings and conferences and even concerts, but there are tons of issues with poor internet connectivity, with the quality of video, with unexpected power interruptions. Actually, right before I started filming this video, power chopped and I had to wait. And Ugandans, what's up with our power issues, right? And the quality standards that I have for this channel will not let me waste your time with poorly recorded video interviews. The kind where the person on the other side of the conference call cannot be heard and they're asking, can you hear me, etc. So I basically shelved a lot of the ideas I had. And then the ones that I had left over after that weren't that exciting without the entrepreneur interviews that should have come before, further compounding the creative process. And finally, I also realized that my body and my mind were telling me to actually just rest. I'm an apologetic workaholic. I always feel like there's an urgency to the work that we do, especially because we work in the education space. There's always hundreds, if not thousands, of kids leaving the education system, and there is just this urgency to develop tools for them, create materials so they can learn better before they fall out of the school system. I was already working hard before the lockdown started, and with all the challenges of steering a non-profit organization through the uncertainties of this COVID-19 crisis, my workload almost tripled. And so to switch from that to another few hours of creating YouTube content just felt massively exhausting. And so I rested. Yeah. I whined about it, of course, to my inner circle because I was legitimately concerned about the loss of my creativity and the consistency demanded by a good YouTube channel. But mostly I went with the flow. I listened to my mind and to my body and spent time just chilling and learning how to cook. Yeah, finally took some time off and learned a few recipes. Shout out to my awesome sister who's been hanging out with me and teaching me, the skills that she has for cooking. So yeah, that's been the madness of the past 4 weeks and an explanation for why a video hasn't been up in the last 3 weeks, despite numerous social media posts about planned content and all these promises that I kept making. Ultimately, I want to be able to create quality content for you and to provide useful information that can help you thrive and grow in your entrepreneurship journeys, in your life journeys, in your experiments with technology. But I don't want to create lots of filler content just for the sake of it. I want each video to be well researched, well produced, and ultimately a tool and a resource that can help you move onwards and upwards every single day. But we are back on schedule and we'll be posting more. So thank you for watching and stay safe out there. Remember to wash your hands, maintain social distance, and be safe. Peace. Solomon King out. I have been told by my director that I have to say peace and Solomon King out. Oh wait, no, she said, she told me to say that I say Solomon King out, peace. I don't know, whatever. Bye.